Welcome to my Best 11 podcast. Today, we are joined by a player who's played at a number of clubs up north, down south, teams such as Brighton, Wigan, Barnsley, Sheffield Wednesday, the mighty Luton, Forest, Chesterfield, Bury, and also has played so many games as well for Northern Ireland. Today, we are joined by Danny Wilson. How are you, Danny?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah.
Excellent. Marvin, you played with Danny. For long, or I know it's towards the start of your career.
Well, it was the start of my career. I mean, I got into the team when Danny was a regular at the club, and it was a thing where he obviously took me underneath his wing, was tried to help me, but at the same time, I mean, I can remember the most time I used to like to be maybe a little bit overconfident with the ball and they're like, Marvin, and just look at me, give me a look, a stare, and then I'll think, oh yeah, I know, too much, Dan, I know. So no, he was a great bro for someone like myself who just got into the first team and coming through.
What was Marv like? Yeah, go on. I was going to say.
It was great. I mean, at that time we had some terrific young lads who were coming through, and I think with Ray Harford and obviously David before Ray and whatever manager. They weren't have any fear of putting young lads in the team because I think they were looked after by the senior pros. We had a lot of senior pros there, a lot of experience in the team as well. And it was great to get a breath of fresh air to get good young legs and enthusiasm in the team as well. And the ones that they brought in, weren't just put in there just because they'd been told or they were under pressure to play young ones. They were there on merit. And Marvin was one of them. And so when you got young lads coming in the team, they're not just there because it's a whim or whatever. It's because they deserve to be there. And I think we encouraged that as well. We enjoyed that. I think there was quite a few at that time. Gary Cobb and David Oldfield, if you remember, Marv.
Yeah, Kingsley, Richard Harvey.
Yeah, Richard Harvey. Yeah. So there was quite a few who came into the squad, into the team. And It was great because it does freshen everything up. It freshens, us up, and it smartens up the older lads up as well. It smartens them up a bit. It's when you get these young lads zipping past you, you think up your game again, and when we did, and that's what they do. They were a big lift for us all.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Is there an element of some of the pros sees the young kids coming through almost as a threat, and therefore they don't maybe help them as much as they should? Are there some pros that do that?
Well, yeah, I'm sure there. If you're a little bit, unsure about your own future, and then you're getting, taps on the shoulder from a young lad coming up behind you, type of thing. You've got to up your game, and that's all. That's what's the beauty of football. There's always somebody there waiting to take your place. It's just a natural progression. And if you are, that older pro, you're not performing or putting the work in that's required. You're going to be out of the side, and nobody can complain about that. It's whether you get on with the players that's underneath you or not, it doesn't really matter. You've got to earn that right to be in the team, and whether you're 20 years old or 30 years old, it really doesn't matter. You're there on merit.
Yeah, definitely. So we're here to talk about your best 11, the best players you ever set foot on a pitch with. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for a formation and then go through the players one at a time. And as Danny goes through, Marv and myself are going to try and guess. So whether or not you're on the tube, on the train, painting a wall, or in the car, try and guess and see if you can, probably you will, beat myself and Marv. So first of all, just to give us a bit of structure, what formation are you going for? And give us a bit of a hint why.
Well, you can really choose it yourself. Whether it's either going to be a 4-4-2 or 4-2-4, and when they name these players, you'll understand why it's so flexible. Really, why I've got this? I've tried to put in the most attacking-minded players that I possibly could, the ones that I've played with all the time. And Marvin will know quite a few of them anyway, I'm sure. After a few little nudges, but I think. What I've tried to do is because it's an entertainment game, as I said, and fans pay the money to be entertained. They don't they're not paid to be bored the pants off them, type of thing. So I've tried to put in a team, some lads who can get you to the edge of your seat, can do the unexpected at times, but more importantly, we score goals and be very entertaining.
Fantastic.
Dan, was it as more a little bit tougher than you thought it might have been? Because I mean, a lot of people we've spoken to them about it and said, like, actually, when you come down and sit down and think of the nitty gritty, and you start trying to put players into place, you think, oh shit, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Or
No, it's murder. Absolutely, honestly. There's that many players that over particularly when you get to my age, you've played with or managed, you get them mixed up sometimes. But there's that many, and they're not always in the team just because they're well known. You know,
right? Yeah, good.
Team, you know what the job they did for everybody that was around them, and they made other players better. You know, and that's a big help as well. You know, it's not always about the person that would have the headlines every weekend. You know, it's the ones that go unnoticed as well that I like to recognise. You know, but this one I've put together here, you know, maybe not always with that, but certainly in one or two areas it is. Yeah.
Perfect.
Excellent. So he's gone attacking. So we're looking forward to seeing some interesting strikers playing into central defence, but we'll see how we go. So goalkeepers, over to you. Give us some clues.
I think you'll sort of get this really because if you followed my career and what have you, I've had some terrific goalkeepers, and one or two obviously that Marv's played with as well. But this one in particular, he came to our club out of the blue. We never thought we'd get somebody as talented as him, because at the time there was quite a few clubs who were chasing him. We were big clubs, and he'd been at big clubs. In the Premier League or the old First Division, played for his country, regular for his country at times, and also regular with every team that he's played for, virtually in the Premier League. So not the biggest of goalkeepers, you know, in terms of 6'4", 5. He was 6'1", you know, maybe not the biggest in terms of what you expect nowadays. But agility-wise, he was absolutely magnificent. Fantastic.
Andrew?
I've got one that I'm going to go for.
I bet you get it.
Chris Woods.
Bang on. Absolutely bang. Good start, Andrew. Not bad at all.
I was struggling. Really? I was trying to think. Yes, I was thinking Jennings straight away in my head, and then I'm thinking when he said about the played for his country and then I'm thinking
because Chrissy Woods was number one throughout all of Graham Taylor's era, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He was
good shout. Good shout.
Yeah, and Trevor Francis brought him into Sheffield Wednesday at the time, and obviously, like I said, we were trying to vie with, believe this or not, with Manchester United at that time. We had a good side, and Chris was one of the key players for us. Came in and did that brilliantly for us. But what a great lad as well. You know, great in the dressing room, funny, like all goalkeepers, mad as hatters. But he was great company, but an excellent keeper.
Now, am I getting him confused? He wasn't English born, was he?
I don't know. I think
was he American?
I don't think so. I think he was. From what I believe,
I'm probably wrong. I will take that back. Back. I'm probably wrong. The question I was actually going to ask was related to Sheffield Wednesday. And I know we're going to get to some positives later, don't worry. It's not all going to be doom and gloom. But 1993, 2 finals. Yeah. How did you pick yourself up for the second one? And what was it like after the second one? I mean, losing both to the Arsenal as well. What was that like? I mean, just that whole month, I suppose, as well.
Very difficult. Of course it was. You know, I think, you know, first and foremost, we had brilliant seasons. You know, we finished quite high up in the Premier League at the time. You know, so we had to take the positives out of it. But at the same time, the one thing that was always put in front of us is that we were emerging to try and challenge the likes of Arsenal, Manchester United, and Liverpool's in those days, which was a big ask. You know, they did it regular, but we were like new boys on the block in terms of that. But when you look at the team that we had on paper over the couple of 3 seasons, we had some fantastic players in there. You know, some boys that had played at the highest level ever, maybe was coming down to us, but still could do a job for us at that top level, and ones that were emerging, whether it be overseas boys or local boys. So they had both Ron Atkinson and Trevor Francis had a great knack of being able to merge these lads together and mould this team. And it was just as if, if one person left, another one came in. It was just seamless. I think that was a magic of it. But more importantly was that we never thought, and the confidence that we were given by both the managers, we never thought we were ever subservient to Liverpool, Man United, Man City, whoever it may be. We always felt we could go out and win and beat them in those years. A bit like at Luton days, we were underestimated also at Luton, Marvin, weren't we? We come out, victorious in many games, and I think that's just really with the camaraderie and the belief that the managers can give you at that time, and obviously the players around you. You need that talent around you to succeed.
Yeah. So with the 93, did it push you on losing the first one? Did it make you want to get a bit of revenge? Was it used as that bit of a pick me up going into the FA Cup final?
Well, it was. Yeah, of course it was. I mean, you don't know. It's the worst. It's the best feeling in the world getting on there, and the worst feeling ever when you lose. It's the emotions are just completely opposite poles. So yeah, of course, you want to get back there again. You want to prove that you're capable of going on and winning something, and that was what we tried to do. We tried to, put behind us what had happened previously. Never going to be easy against great opposition as well, and opposition that was the top of the league again. So it's always going to be a tough ask to do.
Yeah, and again, something such as yourself probably used a bit of that experience, having won there 5 years earlier as well. I know there were other players who'd won at Wembley, but you actually winning the cup final probably had a lot of that experience as well, which you were able to pass on to the players.
Well, it did, yeah. I mean, it was. I think maybe that's possibly why I was in the team. For the amount of time that I was at Sheffield Wednesday. I think Ron Atkinson said at the time I was the oldest player he'd ever bought. But it was. I think it was just about the experience. So when games like that come along, I think he looked to experienced lads. Didn't really put young ones in those circumstances. And I was one of the eldest there. So yeah.
Fantastic. So we're going to move on to right back or left back. Where do you want to go, Danny?
Well, let's have a look. We'll go for left back. I was torn a little bit on this one, simply because how can I say? I like both these other two boys. I love them.
Dan, you can give honourable mentions afterwards. I mean, so it doesn't give us clues. Right, once you've named the one we've casted, you can say the other two. So it gives them yeah.
Of those other two, there's two others that it was very, very close run thing, obviously. But the one that I've gone for, again, was an international player I played with. Terrific left foot. What an engine up and down that line. As good attacking as he was defending. Not the best aerially, I wouldn't say. He couldn't head a cue if you asked him, honestly. He was not the best in the air. But the rest of his game was terrific. Did you play with him at Sheffield Wednesday as well? Yes. His right foot was for standing on. Never used it, but didn't need to because he had such a good left foot. but very good player.
Marvin?
Nigel Worthington.
You're on the ball, you two today. Yes.
Nigel Worthington.
Yeah. And the only reason I went for Nigel was really because of his experience at international level as well. He's played in a couple of World Cups. And the other two was Ashley, was Grimesy. As you know, again, you could suggest that, Ashley got a wonder of a left foot. If you can remember the ball he played for the cup final for Steenie.
Outside of his foot.
What a ball that was. And the other one was King. That King who played at Phil King, who played at Sheffield Wednesday, Swindon. They played in the same team together. Nigel and Kingy. They were both that good. They could play one in front of each other or one behind each other. They weren't bothered. They had a fantastic understanding. But I went for Nigel through his experience and his longevity. He's very, very long time in the game and played virtually every game, that he was involved in clubs at. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
So 2 boys, that's not bad. You can understand why I was so crap when I was playing. I was easy to read.
No, listen, we've got better. When we first started, it was like, oh gosh, I don't know who that. And then obviously now it's a case where, I mean, there's going to be players like you don't pick who like you'll think. I mean, we might even mention them. You might think, oh my gosh, where they dug him from, sort of thing, because your career did like go over a long span. I mean, was it Wigan? Was it started out?
Yeah.
Wigan, 76.
Non-league, yeah. That's hopefully it should go along. I might have 1 or 2 more difficult ones for you. With a bit of luck.
So you started at Wigan. You played for a few clubs and managed a few clubs. Obviously, you can't keep an eye for every single club. Are there a couple that you go to, in terms of?
Believe it or not, Andrew, I do look at all the clubs. It takes me a long time to get through them all, but I do look at the results every Saturday. It takes me a long time, but I follow them all. I don't think there's been a club playing or managing that I've walked away from. I thought, you know what, that was shit. I didn't enjoy 1 minute of that. There's not been one, and they don't have to be successful either. Sometimes it's about keeping teams up in the league or stopping relegation or whatever it may be. But there's a success underlying that doesn't always suggest that you're going to win something. And a lot of clubs that I've gone to, you've gone in like a red Adair. You're troubleshooting all the time. But to get them stabilised again and then put them on the right track is very, very it's fulfilling in my respect. It's very good, and I think you are recognised by the club itself because they know the position they were in prior to that. So there's not one club that I can turn around and say that I didn't enjoy, and that's why I really look for all the results as we go along, and just see how they're going on at this given time.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, Dan, what your story as a kid was? I mean, football. Was it something which you always wanted to do, and how did it all come about? Was it did you do it like an apprenticeship? Was it something like that, or was it like?
I didn't. Well, I started off, Mav. I was playing with Wigan since I was about 14 or 15, and I was playing for them one particular day, and when I went into professional football. Because I was they're in non-league and I was getting paid £1 a week, believe it or not. In a brown envelope, it was the first time ever, 15 years old, I got £1 to play instead of paying my subs to the club, And I was playing for the team, for this particular team. And there was a lad who was a centre forward called Gary Dickens, who was a very good player, and some clubs had come to watch him. And that's how I was picked up. I was in the team, with another boy who was grabbing all the attention, and so. But I went to work. I left school, did a few exams and what have you. But I wanted to be an engineer, and my dad got me a job at a works where he worked, and I started to work as an apprentice engineer. But then at 17, I got spotted and then taken to Bury, and I went to pro from there. And I didn't want to not have the chance to try it, so I put the engineering side of it on hold just to see how it was, and it just took off. So I was very fortunate, really, in that respect. But I was down to work. I was 6 in the morning, coming home at 6 at night, and absolutely black with brick dust. It was a brickworks, and I thought, I don't want this rest of my life, And my dad thoroughly encouraged me to have a go, and just said, yeah, you can always come back to this if it doesn't work out, which was great.
Did you know that you had a chance? Was there a group of kids who used to growing up with playing, and there was a group of you who was sort of on the verge of maybe getting spotted by clubs? Because it just sounds like you was on your own. It sounds like you had this a little bit of vision of maybe being on the side, just playing football, but a case where you had to go. I mean, back in the day, obviously, you have to go and get a real job. As my parents used to say to me a little bit as well, So it wasn't a case where most parents supported their kids to go and play the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do, yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I think I had a little bit of an inkling, really, because I was never playing with my own age group. I was always 2 or 3 years above it, and then went to Open League. When I was 14, I was playing in the men's league. So I thought then at the time when the old fellas are trying to boot shit at you, you've got a bit of a chance. But I was quick, so I could get out of the way, so it wasn't too bad in that respect. But then one or two started to show a little bit of interest then, and I thought I had a bit of something. And then when I went to the first club, professional club, which was Bury, there were some older players there, and one in particular was the chairman of the PFA, Gordon Taylor, and Gordon was a winger at the time, but he was playing for Bolton and Birmingham. Came to Bury for his last few years of playing, and he took me under his wing a little bit. Not necessarily by telling me how to play, but encouraging me. But what he was at the time, very, very articulate guy, very educated guy, and he taught me a lot about contracts. And he just put things in my mind. Just if ever you have to, get a transfer or this, that, no, this is the type of thing you should do. And he just helped me throughout. But so that in my early years there, it was great really from that respect. I had a lot of experienced boys who were in there. Ken Beamish, you'll not remember these names. Ken Beamish was there, and John Ritson, who's a fullback who played for Bolton and whatever, very experienced again. These lads, they were a massive help for me at a young age.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're going to go to right back next, the other side of Nigel. Let's see who's there.
Well, I think this will be easy really for you. The clues I give you are just too easy. He's just such a well-known guy. 6'2", right back. He could play now in any position really. Modern day football, it could suit him down to the ground, up and down the line. Scores goals. International. What can I say? Internationally score. I'll give it away if I said the obvious one, but.
Did he play for Forest?
He did.
Middlesbrough, Man United?
Man United, yes, not Middlesbrough.
Not Middlesbrough. Sheffield Wednesday, sorry.
Yeah.
Viv
Anderson. Yeah.
Viv Anderson, yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah, Viv's he's a massive friend of mine. He'd give me a bollock if I had to mention him anyway, so I had to. But what a player! When he in his pomp, he was as good as anything nowadays. You'd see, that's performing in the Premier League now. He could match anything with that. Fantastic acceleration, gets goals, could play centre back as well. Tall, gangly. Obviously, first black player to play for England. So to go through all that as well, with all the abuse that he used to have, and I've heard it myself on the, from the terraces when I played with him, and to get through all that and still be a good player as he was, it takes some doing, and his mentality is absolutely fantastic. Great lad, never lets anything get on top of him, and still is to this day. He's not changed one bit in the 35 years I've known him.
Great.
Fantastic. So Viv Anderson's right back. Let's go to some centre backs and see if young Marvin's in there.
Oh my gosh, he's playing with international. That'd be so silly.
Right, one of them, one of the best readers of the game that I think I've ever played with. I don't think there's many of them like him nowadays. Not really the biggest player. Played as a number 6 rather than number 5. Read the game so well. He read the game before a striker was even going to get the ball. He knew what the opposition midfield players or opposition teammates were thinking. He would nip in front of you, nip the ball in front of you, just come out and start to play. Could walk in through midfield. He could play anywhere at all on the pitch. Great reader of the game. Quick, strong, excellent player.
Play for Man United?
No.
Ooh.
Oh, I was on the same route as you, Andrew.
You were going Man United and Chelsea like me, weren't you?
Yes.
Who are you going for?
I was going for Mal.
No. We was going for Mal.
I was going for Mal Donaghy.
Yeah. No more clues?
Mal was in there. Mal was in there, by the way.
He was an international.
He was. I told you, get a bit tricky as you got on, didn't I?
All I heard throughout all that, I wasn't listening to any of the clues. I was just checking off Maradoni's clues. That's all I was doing. I wasn't listening to any of the clues. All right, I'm going to chuck a different one in there. I don't know if he was fully centre back. Roland Nielsen.
No. Roland again. He was my second choice at right back through Viv. He was a terrific player, but yeah, he could have quite easily attributed to all those qualities I've just been speaking about.
Oh, he's not good. He's going to do us.
I've got a few up my sleeve. I just don't want to say him. But number 5, because Fozzie was. No, but I can't remember talk. He wasn't a 5.
He was a 6. This
he
guy.
Was a 6,
he stepped in midfield. So
yeah.
I mean,
number 6. It wasn't that much. Believe it or not, I was suggesting we've been about 5'8", 9, 10, something like that. Not the biggest, but brilliant at reading the game.
So that rules out people like Nigel Pearson. Nigel Pearson's gone then because he's tall.
Who?
Nigel Pearson.
Oh, Nigel Pearson. Oh, yeah, I'm trying to think. The cult, Nigel Pearson, Fozzie. They're great defenders.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm talking out loud to try and prompt you, Marv. We're working as a team here, midfield. So Danny doesn't beat us.
It's a good one.
How tall was Norman Whiteside?
Norman 5,
attacker.
5, 10, 11. Yeah, but he was a striker.
Striker.
Stroke midfield player.
I don't know what I'm talking about. How tall? Jerry Taggart?
No,
thanks. I was going to kill me. Go on, then. Go on, Dan. You've done this. Can
I give you another clue?
Yes.
Go on, then. Yeah.
Well, his son played quite a lot as well in league football. He had made a bit of a name. He's not playing anymore, but he made a bit of a name for himself as well. Ooh. Similar type of position as well where he played.
Is his son still playing?
No, he finished maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh my gosh, send that back. It's gonna do my head in when I go on. No, he's done us. I can't.
Done you?
Hold on. Give us the club.
The club.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest. You're gonna kick yourselves.
I know.
His son played at the top level too.
Yep.
People at home are shouting, Marvin.
I know.
Especially Forest fans.
One of the great players. Brian Clough absolutely loved him. Absolutely loved him, adored him because of his ability to read the game so well. He was fantastic.
All right, the only other person I can think of Des Walker, but it's not Des Walker.
No, it's not.
See, we're both on the same page, Marvin. Because he hasn't got any. His kid hasn't. That's what's going to annoy me now.
And his son played as well
in the centre back position.
Yeah, do you want his name? Do you want his son's first name?
Yeah,
Andy.
I'm done. I can't believe this. Andy. Go on, tell us.
Where did Colin Todd play?
Wow, there you go.
Colin Todd, he's got it.
Oh,
Colin Todd and Andy.
Andrew.
Yes. He gave it to us. That wasn't even on a platter. I think that counts as fully serving it up to us.
I know. Crimes.
What a player.
Colin Todd. There we go.
Colin Todd. Yeah, one of the best players ever.
That we couldn't get.
Yeah. Good effort, though. Good effort.
Oh yeah, but you've given it us in the end. You had to give it to. He's more or less given to us, hasn't he? In the end, my gosh, I know Colin Todd. I don't even. I'm looking down now at my research. Forest, yes. Anderson, Fairclough, Todd, Swain. Got him. Yeah, I'm like,
So you love playing with him, then?
Oh, he was brilliant. I mean, and such a one of the funniest fellows I've met as well. But what a player! He's reading. I just don't know how he did it. He used to nip in front of defenders all the time, in front of strikers all the time. Just come away with the ball and just walking through midfield. He was such a the strikers he played against were just in awe of him because he just read things straight away. And the times that they think he was coming, he was 10 yards off them. And they didn't know where he was. It was just like a ghost. You could just ghost in around. It was just terrific. Yeah, and they'd make runs in behind. He'd just be waiting for them. He'd just wait and just take the ball off them because he was quick and strong. Yeah, he was excellent player.
Yeah, very good player that we couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I know. Did you have it written down, Andrew?
I told you I could put a curveball in somewhere. Sorry,
it shouldn't be a curveball. It shouldn't be a curveball. That's the problem.
I just said to Andrew, did you have them written down as well or not?
No, I didn't. No, I just started thinking Andy, and I was thinking Andy, and I got obviously Andy Todd. So that was the only logic I got to it. But yes, so we're going to go for number 6 now.
Okay.
Which fingers crossed is Fozzie.
Well, what can I say? Yeah, it is. You've got it straight away.
Yeah.
Because and the reason
we can't have the podcast too long. That's why I made sure I shortened it down by not going through those clues.
Yeah, the one thing I think with Fozzie more than anything is that because I had Mal Donaghy and Nigel Pearson as well as Toddy. Fozzie again, I played with him on 2 occasions, Luton and at Brighton, and throughout there, his leadership abilities, as Marvin will know as well as anybody, was terrific. And Fozzie off the pitch was a different animal on the pitch. Off the pitch, he was a funny man. He was a guy who brought all the club together. He would be out for a pint with the lads and get them all together. But on the pitch, he was a leader. And he was a leader of men without a shadow of doubt. And he would put his body on the line for you throughout, no matter what. And the 2 spells I had with him were 2 very successful spells as well, which was great from my point of view. So Fozzie had to be partnering Colin Todd in that. That would have been a good partnership in real life.
Very good partnership.
Yeah.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. Yeah. Going back to what now you're talking about Fozzie and leadership and that game. Talk us through that cup final and how it felt.
Which one? The
Luton 1988. As a Luton fan,
the Arsenal one.
Yes, I got to ask it.
Oh wow. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about that. What a real upset it was for everybody. It wasn't an upset for us. We didn't feel it was an upset. We thought we could go and do it anyway. And given the team that we had out there and the players and the quality that we had in there, and likes of Ricky Hill and Steenies and Kingsley, everybody, you can go through the team one by one. Big Mick, and we thought we could, we could give anybody a game, Arsenal included. And we did. And I think, but everybody will remember the goals that we scored. But if it weren't for one person, that game would have been lost, and that was Dibbs. Dibbs had an unbelievable game. I mean, he pulled off 2-3 saves I can remember now. One from Smith, a header.
Yeah.
He did one again from Hayes, another one.
Yeah.
Another one, and then the penalty from Winterburn.
Yeah.
Without those saves, we wouldn't have won the cup. So he's and with all due respect to Les, when Les was injured and couldn't play in the game, everybody thought, well, Dibbs, how will he react? He reacted in the best possible way ever, and had the game of his life. And went on to have some more games like that. That weren't just the only one, but that was the start of everybody getting to know Andy Dibble. And but what a game that was! In terms of everything that was going on in football, in the game itself, in the game of football, to score the goals we did, to come from behind, to have penalty saves like Dibbs did. It was just a game that had everything. And you look back at it now, it's a great game to watch again. I've watched it a couple of times, the whole entirety of it. It was a very good game. It's a
great game. I think, Dan, going back to what you said about everyone else thinking that it was like a big upset. I mean, obviously, like you said, as a club, we were very confident, but I think that come from, I don't know if it was a month earlier or maybe 2 weeks there, we had lost to Reading in the Simod Cup final. So I think that's what I think it was in the other people's head outside, that it was a battering we got from Reading, and hence they thought, oh, if that's what Reading's done to them, that's can you imagine what Arsenal's going to do to them?
Well, that's right, Marvin. I mean, and they deserved as well, Reading. You know, they reached us 4, and it could have been more. We never at the races at all. We maybe got in with a little bit of how can I say, a little bit of big-headedness and thinking that we just stroll it, but we didn't. We got absolutely pummeled, and rightly so. And like you say, Marvin, you're right. It was a wake-up call for us, and it wasn't a very good feeling to lose in a full members cup, wasn't it? In the full members cup in that manner, and to a team that was below us, you know, in the league below us. So that was a bit embarrassing, you know, with all these good players we're supposed to have, and we got absolutely turned over. So yeah, it was a big wake-up call for us, and we responded really well to it, which was great. Yeah. Sensational.
I love it. I could hear listen about that game all day. But what we can do is we are going to pause it there, and then when we come back from a break, we're going to hear the rest of Danny Wilson's My Best 11. Welcome back to the second part of Danny Wilson's My Best 11. So far, Chris Woods, Nigel Worthington, Viv Anderson, Colin Todd, and Steve Foster. I'm going to hand straight over to Marv for Marv's quickfire 60 seconds. Marvin.
Okay, Dan. Favourite other sport? Golf.
Golf.
Yeah. Golden goal or penalty shootout?
Penalty shootout.
Pele or Maradona?
Pele.
Best player you've seen live? So not on TV, like you've gone and watched, you've seen with your own eyes, best player.
Maradona. I played against him.
Wow. Bundesliga, La Liga, or Serie A for quality?
Serie A.
VAR or no VAR?
No VAR.
Beer, wine, or spirit?
All.
This is a tough one. Best ground you've played at or visited?
Nou Camp. That's all.
One more.
All right. If you wasn't a footballer, what would you have done?
I think I'm talking about like I before being an engineer. I think I would have gone to that trade. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to go back to the Maradona one. So you played against Maradona, obviously very close together. I know he was kind of a forward centre attacking midfielder, so you'd have been pretty close to him on the pitch. What was that like?
We played in a tournament when I was at Nottingham Forest, and we played it in a 4-club tournament with Barcelona, Ajax, and I think it was Frankfurt.
What, in the late 80s?
Yeah.
The players in that Ajax team.
I know, jeez.
I know, yeah. Anyway, we arrived in Spain, and it's been pouring down, the rain in Spain and all this stuff. It's been pouring down for days. Anyway, so we go to the stadium, and we look at the stadium, and we look at the pitch. And the pitch from outside looks great, looks green, it's beautiful, lush. You get on it, and you're sinking about 6 or 7 inches down in the pitch, full of water. Anyway, so the game goes ahead. So Maradona plays the first couple of balls, gets stopped in the water. So he must have thought in his mind, this is pointless. So he just started to juggle the ball all the game. And he volleyed the ball. Every time he got a ball, he flicked it up and passed it on the volley. All over the park. No matter if people were trying to kick him, whatever, just volleyed the ball over. It was an unbelievable performance. Fantastic. Yeah, it was immense. And I was given the task of marking him to a certain degree, trying to mark him anyway, and just bounced off him. It was just like a pampas pull. It was so strong. Just bounced off it. Every time I got near him, boing, he just banged you, binge you straight away. And right at the end, I thought, well, there's one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to get a shirt off him. If anything else, I'm going to get a shirt. Anyway, so final whistle was about to go, and Kenny Swain went over to him and swapped shirts with him before I could get near him. He'd never been near him all the game. And he swapped shirts with him. I thought, you twat. But I didn't get a bad one, really. I got a shirt from Bert Suster. So that wasn't bad. He was German captain at the time, so that wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. So is Maradona the best player you've ever played against?
He's got to be,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, he's got to be. He was immense, and then you see him properly, performing on a great pitch, on a proper pitch, and you see just fantastic, yeah.
Sensational. So we're going to keep going and see who's in your midfield. Over to you, Danny, wherever you want to go.
Right. By the way, there's a wealth of talent that I've got in front of me, but I've underlined 4 names. This time we'll go for one that's very close to heart, and I think you all know this one. It'll be the easiest one, I think, of all of them.
Where are we going? Right, left, centre?
Central.
Yep.
Central.
Played for England. Great ability. Strong. Bit like Maradona I was just talking about. They're very difficult to get off the ball. Links play very, very well. Fantastic in the air for his size. Very unfortunate, really, and I say this with all due respect, that he never went on to play for one of the big clubs in the Premier League. Sadly, because I think he would have been more of a name than he is already. But great player, great personality, but a little bit underrated at times.
I'm struggling again, Andrew.
I think he's put Ricky in central midfield.
I have. Well done.
Yes, Andrew.
Yeah, and Marvin, you'll back me up on that. I think, although Luton we all love Luton and thought it was a great club and what have you, but when the big clubs were out there and they didn't come for Ricky, it was such a surprise. I don't know if anybody ever did. I've no idea when the club turned it down. Maybe, I don't know. But I was
you have to have a listen to his podcast. He did a really big podcast with us, didn't he, Marv?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think no one to his knowledge. He says.
Not even knew about. There were whispers about Spurs.
Yeah.
Well, I think in those days, we didn't tell all of the agents that they've got nowadays that are touting you around, and you get to know through the press and whatever.
Yeah.
There, you believed in the club you were playing for. You did your best for the club, and if the manager came to you or the chairman came to you and said, "Listen, we've had a bid," that's about the only thing you knew. We were kept in the dark. We didn't know if people were interested in us or not. Yeah. So, which was a good thing, I suppose. You just kept your concentration. Yeah. You weren't looking, to go elsewhere every time, that somebody said you were a shit or whatever, and that was a bit upsetting, I think, on the transfer. Then, you didn't do that in them days. You got on with it. You made sure that you weren't ever levelled that criticism out again.
Yeah, they say that the great players make other players better. Is that something you say about Ricky as well? He made you a much better player as well.
Without a doubt. Listen, I was just a hog carrier. I left it to the likes of Ricky and that who could open doors. Kingsley, Steenie, all both the Steens. They were the boys that could open defences up. I could run, I could tackle a little bit. I could get the odd goal, but more than anything, I was a hog carrier. Got the ball and give it to them and let them get on with their magic. And I was quite happy doing that. That was my game, and if I could do that and help other players, that were great. But Ricky was the one who would be the difference between winning and not winning. Yeah,
no, definitely.
And how did that move come about to Luton from Brighton, Danny? How did that come about?
I had quite a few chances to go elsewhere as well, to other clubs as well at that time. The club at Brighton were in a bit of financial difficulties. Alan Muller is the manager at Brighton, and I still had 2 years of my contract still to go there. Oh. And because there's quite a bit of interest, the clubs are coming in, he pulled me to one side. And in fact, I just moved into a new house only about a month before that. And Alan pulled me to one side and said, "Listen, will you do me a favour?" And I said, "Of course, I love Mullers. He was a great fella." He said, "Will you sign another contract?" And I said, what do you mean? I said, well, I've still got 2 years. Said, I know. I said, but the longer contract you've got, the more money we might get for you. He said, because it looks like you'll be going. I said, oh, right, okay. So I did. And so I signed another contract, and lo and behold, within 3 or 4 weeks of that, I was gone. Luton had come in for us, a few clubs had come in for us, but when I saw the potential of Luton and the players I've been mentioning before, it was a no-brainer for me. I wanted to go and play alongside some of those players, or hopefully earn the chance to play alongside them. And that's what happened. That's why I went.
Yeah. And obviously you went to Luton, then Wednesday and Barnsley, and that's where you got into management. Just talk us through how that happened as well then. So kind of going from player into the management side.
Well, for a long time, people kept telling me that I'll go into management, and I didn't understand why they were saying that. I had no idea, but I just said, well, I'm going to play as long as I can, and I never even had second thoughts about it. I was just enjoying my football so much. That's all I wanted to do is continue playing that. But when Viv, when we were at Sheffield Wednesday, Viv's contract was coming to an end, and John Dennis, who was the chairman of Barnsley, came and asked for permission to speak to him about being player manager. And so Viv went, and he said, and he liked what he heard, and and the opportunity from that point of view. Viv was like a couple of years older than me. I think I was about 34 at the time, 33 at the time, sorry. And but Viv had said that if he went, the only reason he would go is if he could take me along with him as an assistant and player coach. So really, Barnsley got 2 players for next to nothing, really. And experience as well, who were all there playing. But Viv didn't play many games. I played more games than Viv did. But and then happened. Viv always said all along, because his best mate was Brian Robson at the time, and he got the job at Middlesbrough, and he always said that if he got out a job, would Viv go with him? And Viv said yes, and he did. He said, I'm going to Middlesbrough, and told the chairman. Chairman came to me and said, we like what's been going on, and there's been a bit of development. We want you to carry it on if you can. So I did. I carried on for 1 year as a player manager, then packed it in because it was too much, to do. I was playing, managing, scouting, coaching, going watching games. It didn't matter, they just got too much to do it all, and then trying to keep myself fit, and then playing in the match days, and you end up trying to do everybody else's job and not do your own, and so it just got a bit too much, and so I packed it in and just continue with the management, and fortunately for us, it went very well. We had a promotion in the Premier League after a couple of years.
Excellent. And so it wasn't something you always had in the back of your mind to do?
No, it wasn't Andrew. No, I didn't. Like I say, it was other people that were telling me. I didn't. I never really thought about it. Maybe they'd seen, some sort of trait of it as a manager has that I would one day become a manager. I don't know, but I never really thought about it. But then, when that the first year that I had the player coach and the player manager, I thought I quite like this. I like the management more than the coaching. And although I did a lot of coaching as well, but I did enjoy the management part of it. I didn't really mind confrontations with players, and and telling the truth at times. I didn't really shy away from that side of it, so I didn't really bother me. So, but it was I just enjoyed as well seeing lads come through, and then on match days carrying out what you've been training all week and trying to do, and then carrying it onto the pitch, and then young lads developing. It's a great feeling when you see these boys come through and have good careers.
Oh, fantastic. Excellent. So next to Ricky.
Right, next to Ricky. Midfield player, one of the toughest guys that I've played with and against. Again, in that midfield, I think he would really help Ricky as well, because he could do the things that Ricky couldn't do on the other side of the game. But he had a reputation; you didn't want to mess with him.
Ex Liverpool,
yeah.
Southampton,
yep.
He was tough. I played in a game, a reserve game, and oh my gosh, he tackled me like obviously my shins. Right, it felt like I'd gone for a shredder. It was like burning me, and I knew. Jimmy Case.
Yeah, Jimmy Case.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he was a tough man.
Jim was brilliant, and deaf as a doorpost as well, as I'm sure you know. And
that's what Fozzie, because I think Fozzie roomed with him, didn't he? I think Fozzie roomed with him somewhere. Fozzie said about him being deaf.
Oh, he's deaf as a doorpost, but he one of the funniest one as well. You know, that you could meet as well. And he was one of these when he used to go away and you know, lads would wreck other lads' rooms and they'd turn the beds and upside down and mattresses and this, that, and the other, and throw all the stuff out the wardrobe. But Jim was quite the opposite. He'd go in and tidy your room up for you. So you knew that if you walked out your room and you've got your clothes on the floor and Jim nipped in, he'd hang them up for you and put everything in straight and fold them up and fucking hell, Jimmy's been in, bastard. It was brilliant. It was tidy everything. It was great. But he was a funny man. Yeah, but what a tough player. And he's won everything you can in domestic football that you could ever wish to win. You know, European Cups, FA Cups, league titles, everything. You know, and what a career he had. Yeah,
definitely. So Ricky, Jimmy, who's on the wings? Because they're clearly wingers. If you've gone 4-2-4 or 4-4-2.
Yep. Another one. He started quite young, didn't really fulfil a lot of his potential at his early ages. But then as his career went on, went to numerous clubs in Europe and over here. Became a household name.
Yep.
International.
Yep.
What a winger. Not got much pace, really, I wouldn't say. Just glide past you, but he had a body swerve that was to die for, and he would just twist you in knots. Terrific player, and brilliant. Once you give him the ball, just get on with it. He was great.
Yeah, it's weird. I reckon if you were to tell a kid to watch a winger, you'd tell him to watch him, because I remember my dad saying he never used to move more than a metre off the touchline.
That's right. Exactly right.
He just stayed there and hugged there.
Yeah. It was when in years coming now, when we've got the left wing on the right and vice versa, where they're cutting inside, he always played on the left-hand side. Very rarely played on the right-hand side. But towards the end of his career, when he did, we saw a different player again, one that could come in and score goals for fun, rather than just producing goals for other players, and be a service player. He was he come inside and that left foot that he had, he could score from everywhere. Gave another dimension to his game, in fairness to him, and again a real problem for defenders when it comes inside like that.
Yeah, so we're talking about Chrissy Waddle. We're talking about.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's quite easy, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're talking about times when he was at Bradford and those type of places as well, I assume.
Yeah, absolutely. He's and he was still playing. Chris was still playing. I still see quite a bit of him. Chris was still playing up until about 2 years ago as well in non-league. Yeah, he just got a love for football, and with his ability, even at his age now, we're still sending players all over the place on non-league surfaces, but he still had that desire and that love for the game, which is great. I wish I could do it as well, but he's he didn't go into many tackles, though, I don't believe, if I can remember. So I had to get away with a few injuries.
Do you still play yourself? Do you still have a kick around?
No, absolutely not. No, I've not played.
No, you look quite fit though, Dan. You're looking fit.
I've just believe it or not, I've just had an ankle replacement. So I've had a problem with an ankle for years and years and years, and it just got to a stage now where walking became very painful. So I just had a full replacement about 9 months ago, and it's been great. But up until that, I don't think I played in a competitive game after I finished football at 34. Wow. I didn't play a game at all. Not even charity games or anything like that. No, just
it's just golf. It's just your love of golf, is it?
Well, it is. Yeah, it is. I love playing. Yeah. As you know.
What are you playing off?
I'm playing off 7 at the moment, but it's not particularly good. I've been down, but I'm coming back up again now.
I'll take 7.
Oh, jeez.
Marv and I need 7 extra per hole, let alone a handicap of 7.
I'm playing that way at the moment. Don't worry about that.
So we got Chrissy Waddle, who's on the other side.
Yeah. Well, we've got another international, as most of these lads are. Another international who was absolutely loved by everybody and everybody. He was a magician, absolute magician. Left footer again, so but he could play either side. But one who could produce something out of nothing. He didn't even have to go past defenders at times. He could put balls into the box if there was nobody stood in front of him. And he could have 2 or 3 stood in front of him. He could produce balls round them, over them, through them. His touch and his strength and his ability to go round people was just terrific. And he produced at the highest level as well. I've not scuffed your boys away. You'll get this. If you think hard enough, you'll get it.
It stuffed me because you put Ricky in the middle, whereas Ricky.
No, Ricky's in the middle. I would have put Ricky in the middle. That's why I know.
Right, I suppose if you're playing wingers, yeah.
Holding midfield player would have been Jim.
Yeah.
2 wingers and Ricky just in front of him playing the number 8.
Right hand side. Definitely has to be right, but can play left. It's the left-footed thing.
Yeah, he's left-footed. What a player.
You said international.
International, you said as well.
Absolutely amazing player, isn't he?
Yeah. Got lots and lots of caps for his country.
Northern Irish?
No.
Have you put a square peg in a round hole?
No, absolutely not.
Right.
Played on the left wing virtually all his career.
English?
No.
No.
And still playing that position, players still couldn't suss him. And he played virtually all his career there. Never knew what he was going to do next.
What nationality then? Is that going to give it away?
Going to give it away.
Is that going to give it away? All right, don't tell us that.
All right, I'm going to chuck a name out there then, which is going to be totally wrong.
My mind's blank.
John Harkes.
No.
International.
Am I going the right way with the random curveball like that?
No.
Right. So, so it's a household name then?
The household name, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, he is, yeah. Legend, in fact. At the football club, a legend.
Ooh.
Ooh. He's done us. He's done it. This time he's done us.
Just hold on a second. Hold on a second, Marvin. Legend at the club. One club man.
And he wasn't English.
He's not English. He's not Northern Irish.
Nope.
What the fuck?
That writes off so many players who played at the top level. He was a legend at the club.
Absolutely.
Not English.
Not English, no.
Welsh?
No.
No.
You're trying to go. We thought I'd give it away, wouldn't it?
It was. It went into management side of it as well.
Oh my gosh!
But as an assistant more than a manager, quite a lot. As a player, he was generally maybe a one-man club, although he had a couple of clubs, but generally one. His name was at one particular one.
I keep thinking. I can only think of English people.
Give us the country. Give us the country.
Scottish.
Oh,
Scottish.
Yeah.
Not John Robinson.
John who?
Is it John Robinson? Is it? No.
John who?
The one is at Forest. He was at Forest on the left. Look, him.
John Robertson.
Robertson. Do you know what? You know what? I had him on my head, right? But I don't know why. For some reason, I thought it was English. I don't know why.
Yeah,
That's not,
what a player.
I had him.
Yeah,
I was thinking of
there
Scottish.
was a first on Brian Clough's team sheet every week. First one down. What a player. He was an absolute magician. And Clough used to even say to us, just give him the ball. If you want to breathe, give him the ball. And couldn't get it off him. They were fantastic. Again, European Cup winner. You know, league titles as well, you know. But his assistant, he was always assistant with Martin.
That's right.
Yeah. I forgot his name. Crikey, what's his name? Martin O'Neill.
Martin O'Neill. Yeah.
He's always with Martin O'Neill. Yeah, with the assistant with you know, with Ireland and then Wickham and Leicester and what have you. Yeah. So you're a legend.
Excellent.
But he was another one. He wasn't like blessed with a lot of pace, but just had that little like shuffle where he'd keep bringing it to his right hand side and then skip back onto his left foot.
Yeah. Made the goal for Trevor Francis in the cup final, in the European Cup final. Malmo. Yeah, it was terrific. Great player, and you couldn't stop that ball coming in, no matter what. Oh, you tried. He just had the knack of just getting that ball around you. Yeah, he used to say because he grows his nails that long, he caught up the end of his toes. Like, well, we never believed it, but he was great for putting some tuzzy on it. Yeah.
But like we said, everyone has that one Cloughie story. What's the Cloughie story you could tell us about Mr. Clough?
We were playing. We'd drawn Celtic in the European Cup. 2 legs. We were playing them away in Glasgow. And before we went up, the day before we went up, Cloughie pulls me in one day and he says, listen, on Wednesday, he says, we've got the biggest game in the reserves. I want you to look after all these young lads, show them what it's like to be a great pro. I said, well, come out, I want to win. And he says, and the only one I can put my finger on to do it is you. I thought, I felt 10 foot tall. And then I thought of it, that's the best way I've ever been fucking dropped in my life. I thought, that's a good way of getting dropped that. And but that's the way it was. And I did feel 10 foot tall the way he was speaking, like, but he was just leaving me out the squad.
Love it. Well, not love it. You know what I mean? No, that's awesome. That's a good one. Out of interest, you mentioned O'Neill. Northern Ireland, has it ever been on your radar? Ever had an opportunity?
I have, yeah. I had an opportunity 10 years ago, something like that. I wasn't ready for it. It might have been a bit longer than that, actually. It might have been a bit before that. But I wasn't ready to give up full-time club football at that time. I didn't want to go part-time and then, you know, just only see players and be on the training pitch, you know, once every 3 months or something like that. I didn't fancy it. But yeah, it was an opportunity, yeah.
So it's for you, it was a case of the part-time nature. It's a totally different beast, isn't it?
It is,
you don't get to, and you mentioned earlier, you love bringing youngsters through and the passion and that it gives you, and the pride almost, you see them progressing. You don't see that. You have to almost have the ready-made article and its tactics.
Well, you do. And I think sometimes as well, a little bit more experience that you have helps at that level as well, you know, and you tend to have more connections with different managers and different, you know, coaches and up and down the country, across Europe, really. The older you get, you manage to speak to more people and more understanding you become. And I think you become a better manager in the international scene. And I don't think I was ready for that at that time. I was still, you know, cutting my teeth in club management. So that's why I didn't want to get involved in that now.
Fair enough. So we're going to get back to your 11.
Okay.
Strikers. Are we doing 9 and 10, or how are we playing this?
Oh yes, you're having
big man, little man.
Not necessarily. No, but you know, not necessarily overly big. Not that target man that would fit into that category. But
cross off Mick Harford, Marv.
Well, that's unfortunate
from your list.
This particular boy, powerful, unbelievable power in his shooting ability. Generally, or predominantly left-footed, but right-footed was just as good. But he was technically left-footed. Header ball, tough, smash you all over the place if you were a defender. Not scared to do that. Give him half a chance, and he'd be past you before you knew it, and he'd ball would be back in the net before you knew it. He had everything.
Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
Is his son at Leicester?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. David Hurst.
Yep.
Well, he had everything at that time. Manchester United had a bid of £4 million turned down by the club at that time. Trevor Francis was manager, and rightly so as well, because he was worth a lot more. But United, we were vying with United at that time, for the top positions in the league. We had good results against them all the time, and Hurst, if he's always score against them, be a right handful for Pallister and Bruce, who were the two centre backs. He just run ragged every time he played them. He was different class, but he was tough as well. And if he really hadn't had the injuries that he suffered later on in his career, he would definitely have been at one of the big clubs. But unfortunately, he didn't, and he tapered off a little bit at Southampton when he went down there. But prior to that, when he was in his period with us, he was unplayable. Absolute great player. Yeah.
Sensational. And you're not the only one to name him. But I think there's quite a few people who named him. But I think it's really, really interesting that if you were to put a great big list of England players and just players in the early 90s, that a lot of fans wouldn't naturally be drawn to David Hurst. You speak to so many ex-players, and he's always there every time, which is interesting about training grounds or something else that you guys see that we maybe don't.
Yeah. Oh, he was exceptional. I mean, as soon as you got the team sheet, if you knew it was in your team, you're going to win the game. You never felt anything different, because you have a chance he'd take it, or he creates something out of nothing. He could pick a ball up on the halfway line and he'd spin the centre back and just run with the ball at pace, and you just bounce off him, and then he just unleash finishes that whether they were powerful or chip or bend, he could do anything. He was a terrific player, and you knew that if you got a chance, it's unlikely he would miss it. That's for sure. So if you're in the other dressing room and you saw the name, you thought, oh shit, you have to take notice of this guy. But when you did, there's other people around him who more than capable of getting goals as well. So it was a good time for David and the club at that time.
Yeah. Did he come through ranks the same age group as you, Marv, or around you? Wouldn't he?
I don't know.
He must have been around you, or maybe a year younger.
Yeah, but not before, Marv. Not before. We got him from. We bought him from Barnsley.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, but like Danny says, I mean, he had everything. I mean, he had pace, he had power, he was aggressive. I mean, you couldn't knock him around. I mean, it was very difficult to play against someone that, like, normally as a striker, someone's predominantly really good in the air or just a great finisher. But he had all those as well. Yeah. So it made it even more difficult when you come up against a player of his caliber.
Oh, it was a bit like Dalian Atkinson. Do you remember Dalian?
Yes, that's true.
Very similar to Dalian, but Hurst, he was better in the air than Dalian.
Yeah.
But the attributes are very similar. They both great finishes, powerful, quick.
Dribble.
Yeah. Very similar. I think Hurst just had the edge because of his own ability, which he was very good as well. Yeah.
Excellent. So next to Mr. Hurst is?
Well, again, very difficult to single these guys out, but I've gone for this fella simply because he was magnificent. And until you actually played with him or against him, you wouldn't realise how good he was. His movement, his finesse, his finishing, his pace, everything about him, it was class. And even to this day, he's still a classy man.
I'm going to throw a name out there because I'm thinking along the lines of your team. Someone, I mean, you could compliment Hurst, but I mean, he was quick as well. Dean Saunders.
Dean, no, but Dean was one of my ones that was around. Yeah, he was on my list. Dean was a very good player. Very similar attributes to what I spoke about. Yeah, so quite difficult to.
Yeah. Brian Steen.
No, again, Steen is on my list. Who, sorry?
He said Pace. I'm not being old. Sorry,
I said Pace.
He said Pace. International. Is he froze?
We lost freeze frame.
Really? Dan? Oh. What's happened?
I don't know. Nope.
We have to edit that one out.
Yeah, I've written a note down, and I also made a note to edit the Steenie joke so you don't annoy him anymore, Marv.
Oh yeah. No, he can leave that in. That's fine. He doesn't. I'd say that either way. Who was he on about then? Oh, did you say he was an international?
Well, no, you just asked that, and I think he said he's international. I've only got one more guess on logic.
I thought it would have been Dean Saunders all day
long. And the minor guess is Mark Bright. He wasn't really that quick.
No, yeah.
Because surely he'd have somebody like Trevor Francis in there.
That's what I mean. That's another one I was thinking.
But by the time he played with Trevor Francis as player manager, surely he hasn't got any pace.
Yeah.
Fashnu?
No, I don't think he'd have him. I don't think he'd have. No disrespect to John. I mean, Fashanu, but I don't think he'd have him in there ahead of Saunders or. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just think of the caliber of player. He thinks is this thing
who else did he play with at Forest? Who else did he play with at Forest? No, he looked like he was on a laptop.
They never. I mean,
who else was up front at the Forest?
John Robinson
and
John Robinson. Thinking of the John Robinson one, I'm thinking someone like Gary Birtles. He was a good player. He went to Man United. Peter Davenport, another one, centre forward at Forest. Went to Man United.
Charlie George.
Charlie George, when?
You know, he played Charlie George. He was. Yeah, the Arsenal Charlie George was in that Forest squad for that season.
Yeah, but how old was he?
Oh, yeah, he was old.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's...
Stan Bowles.
Stan Bowles could be one. Someone else picked him.
Who else played up front? Yeah, Gary Birtles. He's not logged back in.
He's not?
No, he hasn't tried it. It pops up as soon as he tries.
I'll text him. You okay?
Oh, there he is.
Oh, he's there?
Yep. Is he expecting us to nail this now?
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Dan.
Oh, well, I'm not sorry about that. Go down.
That's right, and you can edit it out anyway. That'd be fine.
Okay, that's fine.
What?
So we're still trying to guess this player, and Marvin and I have been thinking, and we've come up with pretty much sweet nothing of a player with pace.
Did he play at Man United?
No.
Oh, not Birtles or Davenport. Jeez.
No.
And Mark Bright had no pace.
No, not really. Power but no pace.
It's an international, you said?
Yes.
Oh, no.
No. Had pace when you played with him, or had pace had pace before? Pace. When you played with him?
Yeah.
It's always had pace.
So it's not Trevor Francis then?
Yes.
Oh, what?
Trevor Francis.
Right, okay. I didn't know, because he was, with the greatest respect, he was getting on when you played with him.
Still quick. Still very quick. Sharp, quick. Just a class footballer. Movement was absolutely magnificent. First £1 million footballer as well.
Yeah, he was.
Although Brian Clough used to say that's not true, because he only paid £999,999.99. he wouldn't pay £1 million for a player.
that's true. That would probably knowing him. Yeah.
So, well, yeah, what a player.
The great Trevor Francis.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Stunning player. Yeah. What did you like about Francis, and what do you reckon? I mean, did he play with Hurst then for a little bit?
Yeah, to Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I played with Trevor at Forest and Sheffield Wednesday.
As well, yeah.
But he was my teammate. He's my roommate for a season or two at Sheffield Wednesday, and he's just everything about him. He lived and breathed the way that a footballer should look after himself away from football, away from the training ground. Ate well, hardly drank. If he had a glass of wine, maybe. Non-smoker, obviously. Rested up when he needed to rest up. Everything that he needed to do, and then him going to Italy and coming back again. Then the diets and the nutrition that he brought back, the ideas that that's why he just went on to play till he's still 37, 38.
Great player. Did you ever play against him, Marv?
I don't think I did. I don't think I did.
No,
I don't think I did.
You can remember it, Marv, if you did.
I know. I was going to say I would have definitely would have remembered it, because like you said, pace and quick, and would have 100% would have remembered that.
Yeah. So over to you, Marvin.
So yes, Dan. So that's year 11. So which manager is going to lead this 11? Who you've been involved with? It doesn't have to be a manager. It could be a coach, could be a mentor, could be someone who was quite prominent in your career growing up. So, which person is going to lead this 11?
Well, it was between two, really. I think it had to be a manager, because you've got to go through the trials and tribulations of management to understand, to get a team together and to keep it together and to keep it running smoothly. And both these guys did it, but I think just because of the success that it had, that I'm putting in second place Ron Atkinson. Ron was brilliant, man manager. He liked the older players. He liked to have an experienced team more than anything. He trusted the older players. He didn't think, I don't think, that they didn't have too much work to be put it on the training ground. They knew what the jobs were generally. I think they had a bit of experience. So he quite liked that, Ron, but he was great from fluffing you up and making you feel 10 foot tall. But Brian Clough has got to be with the manager. With all the players that I've mentioned there, he could have kicked their asses, no problem at all. But it's just the way he got people to play as well, and these players were players. And if these lads, the team that I've mentioned there, were an attacking side, then Clough would get the best out of them, because he loved playing attacking football. And he would encourage it at all costs. He wouldn't. He didn't like it if people played backward passes for no reason whatsoever. He understood under pressure, but if for no reason he would come out. He always wanted you facing the opposition goal and going try and scoring goals and whatever, or creating. So he'd have to be the manager for that team.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So again now, like, what have you been doing? I mean, obviously, since you stopped playing, I mean, obviously, for most of us who know you, you went into management and was a manager and a successful manager.
Yeah.
And for me, again, you was one of those ones who was very, like, came across as a calm manager. Never saw you berating on the touchline and screaming at people, which was great. I mean, I try and coach the same way. So, I mean, what is your management? Have you sort of like just took a step away, or is it just a case that you don't want to be involved in the game anymore, or not had the opportunities?
I finished Marvin. I'll leave it to the young ones nowadays on the touchline. I think I've been in it nearly 45 years, something like that, and not had a break, in fairness, apart from these last 2 or 3 years when I decided to step out of it. When you've got a family and when you've got a very understanding wife like I have, who's moved up and down the country with you all the time, never said anything that's going to be giving me a problem for going to a football club or whatever. I decided about 2 or 3 years ago that, unfortunately, the lockdown came down, but we were going to go on holidays together and spend a bit more time, spend a bit of time together where we hadn't before. But we only used to have that little window, maybe 2 weeks in the pre-season, where we could get away. So the rest of it was full on. So I decided to do that, and then the lockdown came, and that put a kibosh on that, really, didn't it, for a couple of years. But that's all I'm doing now. But we've been blessed with having two grandchildren in that period of time, so that's taken so much of our time up, and it's absolutely brilliant. So we've got a 3.5-year-old and a 3-month-old little granddaughter. So it's fantastic. So we spend as much time as we possibly can with them. So it's not been a big loss from me from not seeing football, but I still go watching games. I was at the Newcastle Forest game last week up at Newcastle. So I still go to lots of games. I still enjoy it, but without the pressure now I have, as you know.
Oh, great.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was great to hear from you. Well, yeah, that's what I have to say, really. It was absolutely great to hear from you. It was fantastic. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it, Dan.
That was Danny Wilson's My Best 11.